What's up, guys? Welcome back to GoldClassGaming. Today I'm back with my updated ABC deck profile for the new July 2019 format. So the ban list has been out for like 2 weeks now, or has it been like just a week? I honestly forget. The ban list has been out for a while now, and I've been sitting here, I've been testing ABC thoroughly, trying to find a new, obviously we took one more hit to terraforming, now only having one. So I was really trying to figure out how to increase the overall consistency of the deck and make up for not having as many hangers anymore, and even going beyond that and trying to make sure that we draw hangers as often as possible. So I've created this list. It has been really consistent in testing. It's not budget, so this list is not going to be for the faint of heart who are trying to spend like $100 or less on Yu-Gi-Oh. Just because like the game, like the deck's at a point now where you have to supplement to get it to like a point where you're constantly drawing all your good combo players. But yeah, without further ado, let's hop right into the deck profile. We're gonna start off with 2 copies of A Assault Core, 3 copies of B Buster Drake, and then 2 copies of C Crush Wyvern. Now, I've always said, unless you have a really good reason to not play 3 of each piece, you should play 3 of each piece. And this time, I'm not playing 3 of each piece because I had a 40 card deck, but I wasn't able to main deck any hand traps, and I felt that was just really unacceptable. So I had to make room for hand traps, and the only way I could really do that without really hurting consistency were to cut A and C as 2 of the 3 cards I cut for hand traps. But I just needed room for hand traps, and A and C are the only non-essential combo cards. But I still play 2 just so you can make sure that you see them and don't get automatically lose to having 1 outed. Then to back up our Union monsters, you have 1 copy of Heavy Mech Support Armor and 1 copy of Torque Tune Gear. Heavy Mech Support Armor is there like our turn 2 starter, or like a second normal summon combo player. And then Torque Tune Gear is there for extra, mostly there for extra attack. Like there are a lot of interesting scenarios where Torque Tune Gear comes up a lot just to give it an extra 500 attack, whether it be to A. Keep in mind, Torque Tune Gear can equip to any monster. Does not have to be a light machine. Does not have to be a union or whatever. It can equip to anything. So you can give any monster that you have in your field 500 attack. And that really helps sometimes. Now, we're going to get into the biggest change of the deck. This is by far, has been my newest major contribution to the build, and has been largely responsible for the increasing consistency. Playing 2 copies of Danger Nessie, 2 copies of Danger Jackalope, 2 copies of Danger Tsuchinoko, and 2 copies of Danger Mothman. My logic behind this was they all just help you draw cards. Well, for starters, they're all free bodies which will help you link, help you link off even if you don't draw your ideal combo. And 2, they help you draw cards. With 1 terraforming, you have to just try and dig for hanger. Because if you can start summoning a lot of dangers and just keep drawing cards, you can just try and dig for hanger before you actually normal summon. And I think that's the important part, is that these dangers just help you dig through your deck, just to make sure that that you see your hanger or your B. It's just something to help you get your plays going. That otherwise you'd be relying on drawing drawing a hanger on your opening hand, which is a much slimmer chance. And I'll get more into digging through your deck when I get into the extra deck. But now we're going to go back to some more recognizable cards. We have 3 copies of Symphonic Warrior Guitar and 1 copy of Symphonic Warrior Mics. Once again, I have some of the best combo cards in this deck. There are 2 normal summons, free machine monster, and now with the dangers, if you discard a danger monster for the effect of Guitar, you can just go super plus on that one. Like discarding Danger Jackalope for the effect of Symphonic Warrior Guitar, you can actually just you get it mitigates the neg of having to discard Frigitar's effect. Like, you still have to discard, but Jackalope or Nessie or Snake or whatever, they'll all give you a monster in the end. So it mitigates the minus that you have to take for the effect as a Symphonic Warrior guitar. Then we have one copy of Gold Gadget and one copy of Silver Gadget. These are, like, if you draw these, they're fine. They're mostly here for if your opponent outs Platinum Gadget. You can float into your gadgets, but obviously you play one of each so they can float into each other. And then I had 2 extra spaces in the deck where I could play some starters, and I picked one of each gadget. Then we have the return of Speedroid Terratop and Speedroid Takaton Borg. Speedroid Terratop is the best Ash bait I've ever seen, because if you have no monsters, you have to free special summon, and then it has an effect to search. If they don't Ash it, you get Takaton Borg for free. If they do Ash it, it didn't cost you anything. It didn't take your normal summon. It didn't take anything. It's the best Ash bait, in this entire deck. I mean, Terratop is in itself is a 1-card Platinum Gadget. It gives you 2 machine monsters for free. It just gives you two monsters with different names for free. Like, Terratop's such a good starter card, just because you can just drop back down at the start of your turn, search Takaton Borg, summon Takaton Borg, and keep going. And even if you hard open Takaton Borg can summon himself as long as you control any wind monster. And as I've covered before, Symphonic Warrior Mike's is a wind monster. So if you summon Mike's, you can summon Takaton Borg. And obviously in our extra deck we have more wind monsters that if you link summon, you can then summon Takaton Borg on top of. Then you have Solar Windjammer as another starter card for this is like our version of Junk Forward. It's just kind of like it's just a one of, because I filled the deck. I filled like the last 4 or 5 slots in the deck with all one ofs that all had very good effects but didn't conflict with each other, because I don't want to play 3 Windjammer because then if you drew multiple Bricky, as well as Terratop essentially also functions as another Windjammer. So it's a good card to have one copy of, just because if you see it, if you see it in a hand of the other card, it's cool to just summon that out. But also, you don't want it's not a card that is worth drawing multiple of. And then we have one copy of Trickstar Korobane. I play this for a certain reason, which I'll get into in a second. But hey, this is basically another copy of Junk Forward. It's a monster. It has 2k attack. And it will summon itself for free. Then lastly, for our monster lineup, we have 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Only had room for 3 hand traps, and I still think Ash is probably the best hand trap out there. I might consider playing Phantasme, but I think Phantasme by himself is not that great if you don't actually have any hand traps to draw into. I think the beauty of Phantasme is that you can summon Phantasme and then try and draw cards to get into one of your hand traps. Now off into our spells. We have 3 copies of Union Hanger, best field spell ever printed. And then to back that up, you have 1 copy of Terraforming. Then now we get into a bit of an interesting mix-up. I'm also playing 1 copy of Set Rotation with 1 copy of Trickstar Light Stage. Set Rotation, I think with 1 Terraforming, Set Rotation has essentially become mandatory, just because you need to increase your chances of seeing Hanger. But at the same time, I don't want to play a brick. People play cards like Gateway to Chaos with Set Rotation, and I think Gateway to Chaos is fine. I understand the logic behind it. It has a mandatory search, and if your opponent can't resolve that search, they can't activate the card, meaning it'll stay set in the field, meaning they can't activate a new field spell. I understand that logic, but on the flip side, you're playing a brick, and if you draw that brick, you have a dead card in your hand, and I just don't like playing dead cards in my deck. So I chose to play Trickstar Light Stage, because since Light Stage is now limited, as well as Orcus has been taken down a few levels, I feel like the odds of playing against a deck in a tournament setting where light stage is beneficial to them are low. And with light stage limited, pure Trickstar is going to be, seeing a Trickstar player is going to be few and far between. And Orcus players are presumably, well, while they might still play a copy of light stage, once again, because they only have one copy of it now, they might opt to not play it. But on the flip side, if you draw light stage, it's not a brick because you can activate it, search Corobane, and get a free summon if you control no other monsters, and also use its secondary effect to lock down your opponent's back row. So against back row decks, or against a deck where you think your opponent is, against a deck where you think your opponent has some kind of trap set for you, you can just use light stage and lock down that card, and then be able to play your turn much more freely. It also gives you a secondary target for terraforming should you open Unihanger. So it's just like, look, I think Trickstar Light Stage was kind of the best choice when it comes to playing a field spell for a set rotation that is both not a brick for me to draw and is unlikely to be beneficial to my opponent should I give it to them. And then we have 3 copies of Sky Striker, Mobilize, Engage with our 1 copy of Hornet Drones. Once again, Hornet Drones is also a 1-card platinum gadget. It's also 2 monsters with different names. So it just helps you get bodies on board for link cladding. Also Hayate is a wind monster, so you can summon Takatomborg off that effect. But the idea is I was just playing a ton of extenders that help me just dump monsters onto the field to help link summon, while also help me dig to my deck. But that is it for the entire main deck. That is actually 40 cards in the main deck. Now I will head on to the extra deck. All right, to start off the extra deck, we have 3 copies of ABC Dragon Buster. Obviously, that's standard. He's the best boss monster in the game. Fight me. Then they have 1 copy of Daigusto Emerald. This card's really, really good in the grind game. It's like there are some times where you can't just beat your opponent in 2 or 3 turns, and you have to actually go the distance against them. And previously, without Emerald, you only have 3 busters, which meant that you could really only keep the pressure up for 2, 3, maybe 4 turns if you held out for a bit. You could only keep up the pressure for so long before you just ran out of busters to use on your opponent. With Emerald, once you tag out your last buster, you can just overlay 2 pieces into Emerald, use the effect, put all 3 busters back on your extra deck, draw a card, and then just keep going because you're back to having you now have 3 more busters to use, and that's an incredible. It just helps so much in the grind game because it basically just doubles how long you can grind against every deck in the format, which means that you can now outlast a lot of the decks in the format. But now onto our link monsters. You have 1 copy of Knightmare Gryphon, the GOAT, the standard. He's the other card on this playmat that this video is being filmed against. But he's just the best. It's a walking skill drain that's never not going to be good against almost every opponent. Every deck in the game. Then we have 1 copy of Straight to Skull Dread. This goes back to my method of just trying to dig through your deck. You just try and spam monsters on board. So especially you using dangers to help you use their draws to dig through your deck. And then if you still haven't drawn Hanger or B, link into a Skull Dread with 4 monsters and try and dig 4 more from there and just try to dig as deep into your deck as you can, just to hope that you see one of your 3 or 5 Hangers even, because with 3 Hanger, 1 Terraform, and 1 set rotation, you still have 5 Hangers effectively. So you can just keep digging through your deck and just trying to see if 1 copy of Hanger and Skull Dread helps you get there. Because I think just seeing hanger is so important and it's so good that it's worth just sacrificing money. It's worth just throwing monsters towards like Ace or Yuja, just to see hanger. Then for our Link 3s, we have one copy of Decode Talker. Decode Talker is mostly here for link climbing into Knightmare Gryphon, but also has a lot of utility with its own attack gain effect, as well as its negation effect versus Sky Striker. Versus Sky Striker, Decode Talker is actually really useful because it stops Widow Anchor and stops Afterburn and all that stuff to help you protect your own cards from their interaction. And for our other Link 3, we have Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos. This card is absolutely incredible. It's a Link 3 3000 attack, and each time and after it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, it can either gain 1500 attack permanently, it can attack again, or you can banish a card in the field, which is a non-targeting effect. So it has 3 incredible effects, from an extra attack to permanent attack boost to a non-targeting banish, which is incredible. And also, if you link summon this using a level 7 or higher monster as one of the materials, it becomes untargetable and undestroyable by your opponent's card effects, which is such an incredible protection effect to have on a 3000 attack beater. It becomes so hard to out for so many decks, and since your main deck can Danger Nessie as a level 7 monster, it is actually possible to make a protected Blackluster Soldier Chaos. And at that point, I've seen so many decks who just don't have an answer to a 3000 attack monster, who it's a 3K body who just can't be targeted by anything, or versus Sky Striker, they don't have an answer to that. They can't Afterburner it, they can't Widow Anchor it, they can't they can't Jamming Waves it. They just don't have an answer to an untargetable, undestroyable Link monster. 3K attack. So I think Soldier of Chaos is an absolutely incredible Link monster, and I'm really glad I've been testing him. It's proved to be absolutely worth a spot. Then next up, for all of our Link 2s, we have one copy of Knightmare Phoenix and Knightmare Cerberus. Once again, we're back for our utility plays of popping spells and traps and popping monsters, and once again giving you more discard outlets for your pieces and for your dangers. Really great utility cards. And also good for link climbing. They're so good and so generic. I'll continue to play these two in basically every deck going forward. Then we have Platinum Gadget, standard. This card is one of the best and extenders of our extra deck. Really helps us push for our Knightmare Gryphon plays. And then for another new addition to the extra deck, we have one copy of Barricade Borg Blocker from Rising Rampage. This card lets you, first of all, this is the first truly generic Machine Link monster. So this card has a benefit of, you can link summon this with any 2 monsters on the field, and then link it away with a machine monster for Platinum Gadget. And there are certain hands where you have 3 monsters, and it's 1 B and 2 dangers, or Korriban and a danger. You have 1 machine and 2 non-machines. And Barricade Borg Blocker helps you link the 2 non-machines into a machine, which then you can link away with your machine for a Platinum Gadget, and just help you get your combo back on the rails. Also, when it's link summoned, you can discard a card, and then during the end phase, add a field spell back to your hand. So this helps you recycle Union Hanger, later on in the duel. But also, it's very important to note, Barricade Borg Blocker does not require a valid target in the graveyard to activate its effect. Meaning, you can just make this card going first, and even if you don't have a field or continuous spell in graveyard, you can just use the effect to discard a piece or a danger or anything you just want in your graveyard. You can just discard it for free because it does not require a target in graveyard for its effect. It's actually, it has some, just a really good like utilitarian link monster. Has a lot of like hidden benefits if you like read into it a little more, and I think it's absolutely worth playing in the deck. Then for our last 3 link monsters, you have 1 copy of Sky Striker Ace Kagari, Hayate, and Shizuku. Play just to give us a ton of machine monsters, and also is like, give us a win for Takaton Borg, and just help get that engine rolling. I think if you're playing drones and going for like a full commit of just trying to combo with ABC, playing all 3 of them is just absolutely mandatory. But yeah, that's it for the entire extra deck. That was 40 in the main, 15 in the extra. And without if you guys like this deck profile, please drop a like. And if you guys were confused or have any questions, be sure to to leave a comment down below. I try and answer as many of the comments as possible. And other than that, I'll let you thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time.